a very warm welcome to Bharata First. You're watching Big Picture with me, Frank Rausen Pereira. First, let me inform you about Bharata First Knowledge Center, an initiative that will help each one of you in your competitive exams and transform the way you learn. We have started international relations and Indian art and culture classes, and they've had a phenomenal response. Short courses too are going on in full swing. Short courses like how to improve your English and what to identify in newspapers and why are newspapers important. You too can be a part of this incredible journey. Go to our website kc.bharatafirst.com for more details, because there is so much more that we have to offer and you must take a look at it. Register now. The introductory offer ends on the 31st of July, so just a few more days for those limited seats. Now, since you're here, I would like to thank you for your continued support. For those of you who haven't already subscribed, please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and then all notifications. Do subscribe to our newsletter to get some incisive content. The Bharata First team runs a daily Big Picture quiz. Please participate by going through the description in Big Picture videos. Do contribute to keep our content alive if you like it. The links are in the description of this video. All this information, along with some must-see recommendations, are in the description. Please go through it. And now, on to the discussion. The monsoon session of Parliament began today amid reports that phone numbers of Indian ministers, opposition leaders, and journalists have been found on a database of targets for hacking. Ahead of the session, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the opposition must ask tough questions, but the government should be allowed to reply in a peaceful atmosphere. The Trinamool Congress submitted 6 notices in both the houses to discuss petrol price hike, repeal of farm laws, vaccination solution, decline in economic growth, restoration of MP-led funds, and a weakening federal structure. On Sunday, opposition parties objected to the government's offer of a joint address to all MPs by Prime Minister Modi on COVID at the Parliament Annex C. They said that the move aims to bypass norms at a time when Parliament is in session. Leaders, including from the Trinamool Congress and the CPIM, also said that when the COVID pandemic and issues related to it can be discussed on the floor of the House, what was the need to go outside? This is the backdrop in which the monsoon session of Parliament is being held. In this edition of Big Picture, we will analyze what to expect from the monsoon session of Parliament. Joining me on the program today are KV Prasad, senior journalist, and Sunil Chaudhary, political analyst. Thank you to both my guests for joining me on this edition of Big Picture. KV Prasad, let me start the program with you first. Let's first try and understand and analyze what to expect from the monsoon session of Parliament. We've seen a lot of issues coming up of late, the farmers' crisis, then we have the second wave, quite a few of them, multitude of issues. We can expect a stormy session of Parliament, but let's hear it from you. What is it that you're looking at, and what is it that your focus is going to be on?
Well, Frank, let's get this. This is going to be a different session in the sense in the last 1 year, we've really not had a session where both houses of Parliament are meeting simultaneously. And that's largely because of the COVID pandemic that was creating the problems. So the last session of monsoon was, you remember, had a different format. You had either house meeting between post-lunch and pre-lunch. That continued in the budget session, which we held this year. And both were truncated, and we didn't have the winter session because of the pandemic. Now that's so Parliament. I think they realized that since majority of members of Parliament are vaccinated, they feel reasonably assured to call a session where both houses can meet simultaneously. Of course, the COVID protocols will be in place. There are more restrictions still. All that. Significantly, as you pointed out, some of the issues we already read. The opposition has been talking about it. But let us not forget that the monsoon session is perhaps one of the most important sessions in terms of legislative agenda, because after the budget session, which is largely restricted to the financial management and other issues of the government, it's in the monsoon session that the government tries and gets the maximum legislative work done, and the remainder goes into the winter session. And that's why we heard the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and the government kind of indicating that's almost more than 20 bills are pending. Some of them are replacing ordinances, which is a constitutional obligation, and of course the financial bills which are pending. So the government has an agenda on the table. The opposition has the agenda on the table. I think the meetings that take place on Sunday would largely see how much of accommodation can be done on either side.
Absolutely. Talking about accommodation on either side, let's first focus on the government. Sunil Chaudhary, let's talk about the agenda as far as the government is concerned and what's the top priority.
I think that session is going to be the first session in the wake of the backlash under pandemic, how that COVID-19 backlash has actually troubled the government and how it has made a larger appeal to the common people. So based on this kind of session, I think the opposition is going to focus more on the lack of preparedness on the part of the government, which has actually resulted into the wave two. Side by side, the vaccination drive, because the government have been working very sincerely and seriously how to extend the vaccination drive, covering all sections of the society and all parts of the country. And we could see how the initial hackles at the part of the vaccination drive, bringing about a tussle between the state governments on the one hand and the union government on the other. So the vaccination drive would be another part of it. The government is going to focus on its resolve, how it has actually succeeded in projecting and implementing the vaccination drive. But as Professor Prashad has rightly stated, because the farmers' agitations over the months have basically been grappling the economy and bringing about many problems and giving the opposition the broader platform to resist and to oppose the government. So farm laws, and specifically the backed by that is Electricity Amendment Bill 2020, which government wanted to bring it in the current monsoon session, where the opposition is feeling that the government is trying to intrude into the parts of the states. Specifically, it's the privatization drive, where the private discoms will be given more power at the cost of these states. One could also see that bringing economy back to the normalcy, where the employment could be important agenda both for the government and for the opposition. So these are all the issues which I think the government would be taking up, and the opposition would be trying to gear up the government and would try to oppose the government as far as it can.
Absolutely. KV Prasad, coming back to you now, let's talk about the farm laws, because the farmers have said that they are going to agitate in the national capital starting soon. July 22nd is when they have said, and it is going to go on to the length of the monsoon session. Police trying to negotiate with them, trying to see if they can get them to alternate places of protests. Are we going to see this being taken into parliament as well, in terms of their leaders raising these issues on the floor of the house?
I think without doubt that remains on top of the agenda of the opposition. And if you add to what is the opposition has been talking about, is the intention to create a new Ministry of Cooperation, because that, of course, has become a major issue. If you notice, in the last few weeks, ever since this was announced, many members in the opposition have said that, again, as Professor Chaudhary had put out, intrusion into the rights of the states. It's a state subject, cooperative societies, and that we've seen. So this is something which has raised the hackles of many state governments. So this is going to come up in a big way. And looking at the farm laws, last 7 months since September, when the laws have been enacted, the government has shown only one thing, is that they're willing to talk anything outside of, yes, the laws remain in place. So it only other issues. So that is something, there is a stalemate. The political parties are on the side, the opposition parties are on the side of the farmers. So that remains the case in point. And there are other issues which are going to be clubbed, if I may. And if you remember, just about last week, the Congress party had decided that Mr. Kharge, who's a senior leader and now a leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, would coordinate with other parties in the opposition to try and, this is the opportunity which they sense how best to take the government, as try and corner the government on issues that people want. And linked to it is the issue of fuel price.
Absolutely. There's that too. Yeah. The issue of fuel price, unemployment, like Professor Chaudhary has already listed out. Just a quick follow-up question, though, before I go to Professor Chaudhary. As far as the other agenda, as far as the opposition is concerned, because let's not forget there are some key poll-bound states too, including Uttar Pradesh. Are we going to see a reflection of that in Parliament too?
Well, we already seen that with the, if you know, the UP state has already talked about the two-child now policy, and now we've heard, in fact, many members of parliament, especially on the ruling party or the BJP side, planning to move private members' bill to try and put pressure on the government to build this into a thing. Of course, this is going to be an issue. Many people in the opposition, if you know, people in UP in particular, whether it is Samajwadi Party or the BSP, have linked it to the performance of the state government and the forthcoming UP elections. So there is no brainer for me to kind of say. But UP, Punjab, these are states and others, I think Tripura, they'll all be going to elections in the early part of 2021, 2022. So this is the time for people to try and test what exactly are the issues that you need to fine tune and strategize. So this is where it stands. But I think it's very true that one of the reasons, as we discussed in your previous episode also, on the expansion of the Union Council of Ministers, also took this factor in mind of the poll-bound states. So
absolutely,
all this adds up.
Absolutely. Sunil Chaudhary, let's talk about a few more interesting aspects that have taken place over the last couple of days, and whether we'll see some kind of a follow-up in Parliament, something happening on those lines. One is, of course, the meeting between Sharad Pawar, the NCP Supremo, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There's also a lot of friction and traction in Punjab as well with Navjot Singh Sidhu and Captain Amrinder Singh. So can we see this also, or can we see something of this being played out in Parliament?
Of course, we must admit that politics is not static. It keeps on moving, and one could see many changes and many transformations in the actual working of politics and political processes all across the country and the globe. So if you see that how politics and political transformations have been reflecting different changes and transitions and transformations, these all small issues could be placed into that focus. As Professor Prashad has rightly stated, now the country is moving towards important state assembly elections, specifically Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Uttarakhand, and one could also see the rising cry for the assembly elections for Jammu and Kashmir. So the government has to focus that it is again a very credible government. It has been taking all these issues very seriously and sincerely, and no government can function efficiently without working in cooperation with the opposition. So when we say how Sharad Pawar is meeting the Honorable Prime Minister, and how Navjot Singh Sidhu is going to be roped by Captain Amrinder Singh. So these are the important signs which have to be shown to the people that all political parties are trying their level best to curb any kind of in-house opposition against the parties and the government. So, but I think that all these things are part and parcel of politics, and all good political strategists focus on to contain the opposition to the best they can.
A quick follow-up question as well, Professor, because you brought up the cooperation. So as far as cooperation is concerned, can we see the opposition and the government meeting midway on some of these critical and crucial issues? Because of late we've seen it's been difficult for the opposition and the government to see eye to eye.
I think, Frank, if you see the last 1 year, how the government has been working to contain COVID-19 fallouts, and the way the Prime Minister has been meeting all the state chief ministers, state secretaries, opposition leaders, so that could show that one could see that the government actually wanted to have a credible mechanism in place to counter COVID-19 pandemic. So based on this, one could also see that the parties actually expect the government to work in close cooperation with each other. Both opposition and the government need to work together to address many critical issues, specifically issues relating to economy, the employment, the education, and the health. If I place it in the context of the employment generation, and one could see that the government would actually try to rope in the opposition to create broader resources which could be used for employment generation. So based on that, even on the issue of farmers and the farming laws, the government is trying to rope in both the farmers, the agitationists, as well as the government opposition. so that they can work together to find an amicable solution to these pressing problems. Please remember that whenever you go for elections mode, so you have to see that all your nearest opposition should be either contained or controlled or to be addressed in a very amicable manner, so that message shouldn't go to the people in different mode, that they should be in a very agitationist mode to the government and their policies, and challenging the very credibility of governance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Time to get closing comments now from both my panelists with what to expect and what we need to look out for in the monsoon session of Parliament, starting first with you, KV Prasad.
Well, I think I always believe Parliament is a place where process and procedures play through politics. So you have to have a fine balance available all the time for the government of the day to carry its legislative agenda and other bills that it wants and resolutions. And on the other side, the opposition too has to manage these contradictions to try and push what it wants to convey to the government through the parliament. So this is always a tussle between the parliament inside the parliament that we witnessed. So it's a fine balance of politics, process, and procedure, as I mentioned. To look at the broad picture, I think the government would like to push the maximum of the legislative agenda. The ordinances have to be replaced because, or else you have a constitutional issue that they have to be repromulgated or they elapse. Plus financial commitments, because I think the kind of expenditures the government has incurred both in the post-COVID era that need to be ratified, and the bills which they want, I think some of them are contentious. And one of the issues that the opposition has been raising consistently is the lesser referrals to committees, especially the oversight by Parliament. And here I'm really heartened to hear, we just heard the Speaker of Lok Sabha in a series of interviews on the completion of 2 years, that he is going to press for greater oversight of Parliament.
Absolutely. And Sunil Chaudhary, close the show for us with your concluding remarks.
I think the government would try to focus its preparedness to handle the wave 3 for the COVID-19, besides the expansion of the vaccination drive. And secondly, as Mr. Prasad has rightly stated, that monsoon session is more for legislative business. There are many pending bills which are in the process of getting legislated, like the electricity amendment bill, the insolvency and bankruptcy code, the deposit insurance and credit guarantee bill. There are many other bills which are in the pipeline, which government would like to get them passed. And finally, I would say the government would see that opposition and the government, both on the platform of the parliament, should see as both are working, converging on many important issues which actually nation expects from the government and the opposition.
Yes, KV Prasad, please. The
Yeah,
last
I reminded
yours.
of a very old saying which says, in Parliament, the opposition will have its say, but the government will have its way.
Absolutely. Let's see how it goes. On that note, we'll call it a wrap on this edition of Big Picture. Thank you to both my guests for joining me on the program and putting things into perspective for us. So what's coming out of this discussion is that we can expect a stormy monsoon session of Parliament with both the opposition and Treasury benches pushing hard their agendas. For the government, the focus will be getting as much legislative business through. The opposition is going to focus on issues like the farmers' protest, pandemic, and several other issues relating to the economy. We will have to wait and see if some middle ground is reached or if the government will push through with its brute majority. The onus is on both sides to have a productive session in the interest of the nation and its people. Well, before I go, let me once again inform you about Bharata First Knowledge Center, an initiative that will help each one of you in your competitive exams and transform the way you learn. We have started international relations, Indian art and culture, and short courses, and they have had a phenomenal response. And there is so much more that we have to offer as well. You too can be a part of this incredible journey. Go to our website, kc.bharatafirst.com for more details and register now. The introductory offer ends on 31st July, so make full use of it before the prices go up. Since you're here, I would like to thank you for your continued support. For those of you who haven't already subscribed, please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and then all notifications. Do subscribe to our newsletter to get some incisive content. The Bharata First team runs a daily Big Picture quiz. Please participate by going through the description in Big Picture videos. If you like the content, please contribute to keep it alive. The links are in the description. All this information, along with some must-see recommendations, are in the description of the video. Please go through it. That's it from me. See you again next time.